We have read words today in the epistle that went straight to my heart and awoke memories and thoughts that I thought were dead long since. Paul the Apostle said, I was not sent to baptize, but to proclaim good news, wonderful news. And this is addressed to each of us, because the few of us enter the priesthood, the few of us become preachers, and all of us are witnesses. It is something which we have felt with a wonderful intensity in the first years when we found ourselves in immigration. I still belong to that generation. Rejected by the country that was the love of our heart, in countries where we were not wanted. What could we be? What could we do? For a while we felt that we were like lost sheep, rejects, people whose life and whose vocations had come to an end. And then a voice resounded, an unexpected voice, that of Berdiaev, who said to us, we are not lost sheep. We are not people cast away. God has chosen us to go in all the world to testify to Orthodoxy. And this was a revelation. It was so wonderful to think that, deprived of all things, we still had a vocation in the eyes of God. And more, if I may say so, not only in the eyes of God, but for the salvation of thousands of people who were used to opulent churches as we have had them in Russia, to a faith that was lived comfortably as it had been in Russia. And here we found that we were sent by God into a world to testify of Christ. And Christ, not the Christ of the cathedrals, but the Christ who was persecuted now in our beloved motherland. Christ who was rejected. Christ who had nowhere to rest his head. And when we thought of ourselves in the same situation as him, we thought, God is with us. And if he is with us, it is a testimony which we can bring to the whole world. The God who is a pauper, a God who is persecuted, a God who is rejected, and who, being all this, brings the good news that we all are beloved of God in such a way that he gave his life that we may be saved. That was a revelation of life. It gave life to us. It gave a meaning to life. It gave a meaning to tragedy. It gave meaning to the misery of life. We are not in the same position now. We are not in this desperate poverty. We are not rejects. but we are all people to whom God has entrusted the same mission. Go into the world and bring the good news. The good news that God has created the world in an act of love, that God has willed the world to exist and was prepared to give His only begotten Son to die the life of the world because He so loved us. This is a message which we must now bring to the whole world. Not theological details, but love divine. We are loved of God to the point of His dying for us. We can trust this love. And it is this God, the God who loves to that extent, in that way, that we must proclaim. This is our mission in the world. Let us take it on, and let us bring to the whole world a message of divine love and our own faithfulness to this love of God. Be witnesses that what He has given us as an example, we are prepared to follow. Amen.